Got me?
Got you!
What's up, Ryan?
Alana Springsteen, a lot had to happen to make this chat happen, so I really appreciate your time, especially in the middle of shows. Welcome to America's Dance 30 for the first time.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, when I was doing research, I saw a quote of yours where you said that you've always loved exploring sonically. And it's funny because, we now know how well country music and dance music blend together. And you've got such an amazing voice in country music. But if you look back to like when Avicii originally tried blending them together, it wasn't really looked upon well, which still blows my mind. But is this your first foray into dance music?
It is, and I've been a fan of the dance genre for a long, long time. It's something that has always inspired me, and this was just the perfect opportunity to step outside my comfort zone and do something different and fun. And every step of the way, it's taught me something about myself, and it's just so cool to see what it's doing all over the world. Thank you for playing it. It's fun to just watch the fans kind of find it and fall in love with it. But yeah, I love the cross section of different genres coming together and how special a collab can be in that way.
And how have your fans related with it?
Oh man, so my fans are teed up. They know that I've had a tumultuous relationship with love and relationships. It's funny, when I first heard this song, that was initially why I fell in love with it, is because I have been there so many times. I've been known to set fire to my love life on a regular basis.
Same. Raising my hand. Same.
I feel like we've all been there. And I'm a songwriter at heart. Like, I truly just love lyrics. I love storytelling. And I related to this song immediately. And on top of that, the melody was incredible. And when Tiësto reached out about the song, I was, first of all, geeking out because he is like my favorite DJ. And I just love the song. And I was so happy to be able to bring like my fingerprints to it and just do something different and fun.
Well, you did such an amazing job with it with Tiesto. And I can't wait to talk about how this song was born between you two. But first, let's get to know Alana Springsteen a little better with Finky's Firsts.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
So I normally love finding out the origin story of artists and if music was the first thing they wanted to get into, but music has pretty much been with you since the beginning. I mean, you learned guitar at a really young age. I saw that both your granddads were pastors, and you were even singing the national anthem around the country as a kid. Do you remember the first time you performed the national anthem in front of a crowd?
Man, I believe I was 8 years old at my local baseball team, the Tides. And it's one of my first times being in front of a crowd that big, period. And I definitely caught the bug. Like, I just fell in love with performing. And like you said, I started doing anthems all over the country. I got to perform the national anthem for the Cubs at Wrigley Field at 9 years old, which is a moment I come back to all the time. I just caught that bug really early for performing. I fell in love with it.
What was that like, performing the national anthem at such a young age? Were there nerves, or at that age, do you even know what you're doing?
It was nerve-wracking for sure. I've always been a cool, calm, and collected kind of person, but I definitely remember legs shaking. I had a little pitch pipe. I walked out onto the field, and that's how I knew what key to start in. But I was so nervous at 8 years old. I dropped my pitch pipe, and I was too scared to pick it back up. And I ended up starting 5 keys too high. And I just remember, as I was singing, I was just praying. I was like, God, please let me hit this note. Do not let me fail. And I did. He got me through it, but I definitely was super nervous as an 8-year-old, but I think that's kind of the high that I always chase. If you're not a little bit nervous, if you don't get that adrenaline hit, then you're probably not doing it right.
Now, total side note, I am in no way a singer and don't even have close to a good singing voice. But it always kind of blows my mind when somebody has a bad performance of the national anthem and they talk about how hard it is to perform. Is it really that nerve-wracking to perform the national anthem live?
Man, there's a reason everybody says it. It is like a very it's a rangy song. So it comes from the lowest notes in the verses to super high notes in the chorus. And not to nerd out, but there are specific vowels when you sing them high that are easier and some that are harder. And the E sound in Free is really, really hard to sing at that pitch. I nerded out on you a little bit, but it is such a challenging song to sing, but I love doing it. I love paying honor and respect to a country that I love so much, and just try to do it the best I can.
And you've done such an amazing job. I watched some of your performances. Now, last month, Luke Bryan presented you with a gold record for your song, Goodbye Looks Good on You. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Was that your first gold record?
It was my first gold record, and it meant so much. Just especially the way I found out. Luke has been somebody that has been a part of a lot of full circle moments for me. He was one of the people that I saw when I went to the Opry in Nashville for the first time when I was 10. And his performance just like inspired me so much. And fast forward, he was the one that FaceTimed me out of the blue and like told me that I was going to get to make my Opry debut on my birthday. And we've gotten to tour together the past 2 years. So having him be the one to like tell me that news was incredible. He's always bringing me the best news. All the best surprises come from Luke.
And he seems like such a good person, which is incredible.
He is. He's just like exactly what you see is what you get. He's the same on stage as he is off, and we've become homies over the years. But you know, that song has been really special to me. I put it out on my debut album, and I got to write it and release it with Mitchell Tenpenny, who, again, is one of my best friends in Nashville. He's just one of those guys that is always in your corner, always has your back, and he's an incredible songwriter, incredible artist. So it was fun to get to share like a first gold record, an experience like that with someone I'm really close to.
Do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Oh my gosh, throwback. So I was like 9, and even back then, I was obsessed with love. I've always been a romantic at heart, like love and heartbreak. I was writing breakup songs before I had a boyfriend. That's what inspired me. And it was no different with my first song. It was called Fairy Tale. And I was inspired to write it because of my parents' love story. I was talking to my mom, and she was talking about how her and my dad met and fell in love and all the things he used to do. And I was just like, Mom, that sounds like a fairy tale. And I wrote a song about it. And that was it. The rest is history.
At 9, that is amazing.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was probably horrible, but I'm a long way since then.
If it makes you feel any better, that's what pretty much everybody says. And you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of your music, do you remember the first time ever hearing one of your songs on the radio?
Gosh, I think it was from one of my first EPs. It was even before I released my first album, but I'll never forget like driving around. I knew it was going to come on at a certain time, and I was just waiting to hear it and just burst into tears. And I'm not a crier, but it's just those moments that as a kid you look forward to, you dream about, you envision, and then it happens and it just doesn't feel like real life. So I'm just so grateful, and it doesn't get old. Like every time I'm like, oh my God, it's still the same feeling. It's so cool.
Now, a side note, they always say that we don't sound like what we hear ourselves as in our head. And as somebody in radio, when I've heard myself, I'm like, yeah, that's not the way I sound. As a singer, when you hear yourself in songs, do you sound differently?
You know, that's an interesting question. Nobody's asked me that before. I think because I've heard my voice recorded since I was a little kid, like since I was 12, 13, I was recording music. So I've kind of grown up hearing my voice and used to that. But the thing that gets me is my speaking voice. So when I listen back to like audio recordings of me just doing an interview or talking, I'm like, oh my God, I hate it. Turn it off. I don't know if everybody's that way, but my speaking voice definitely sounds different than it does in my head.
Well, I probably shouldn't say this, but then don't listen back to this podcast.
Oh no, this is an exception. I love that we're getting to chat.
I appreciate that. Now, you posted a video of the chaos in your mind before you go out on stage, and I totally felt seen when you put, what's the first line of the first song? Because when I'm going out on stage to introduce somebody, I'm the same way. I'm rolling through everything in my head, and it normally never goes the way I planned in my head. What's the first thing you do on show days? And what's the first thing you do after a show?
Ooh, So I'm a huge routine person.
Same.
Love a morning routine. Honestly, the first thing I do on a show day is probably make coffee. I'm a huge coffee addict. It's the first thing I did when we rolled up today into Boston. Hopped off the bus, went for a little walk to one of my favorite cafes around here. It's called Tate. Got myself some coffee to get the day going. I also love working out. Like, I keep a yoga mat and weights like with me on the bus, and it kind of just gets my head right for the day. A lot of times I try my best to do vocal exercises. It's really important to just take care of your voice when you're out playing shows like 3 days in a row, more than that sometimes. It can take a toll. So putting your body first, your mind first, and making sure you're in the right zone. As we get closer to show, it's a lot of pump ups in the green room. We carry a speaker around with us everywhere. We call it Bosey. It's just a little Bose speaker. And we got the jams going. Honestly, a lot of dance music. That's kind of like when I end up playing it the most, just like to get pumped up, to get hyped for a show. We'll do like a little huddle, a prayer. Sometimes we do a shot of tequila. I love tequila. and then hit the stage, and it's just that adrenaline rush before. There's nothing I love more than live performance. Like, I feel like live music is so special. There's nothing that will ever take the place of it. Just being able to be in a moment with people that have connected to songs that you've written. It's like a family. It feels like a little therapy session / party.
That's got to be such a cool feeling, seeing the fans so close connecting with you.
It is. And it's that keeps me going. Like, on the days that are hard, that I'm tired, it's that feeling of connection that keeps me doing what I do. And then, after a show, honestly, just starting to wind down, like taking the makeup off, getting some comfy sweatpants. A lot of times I'll do like a little meet and greet after shows sometimes. It just depends on the day, but and then we roll into the next city. It's a crazy life.
Now, I love hearing how much dance music has meant to you in your life. Do you remember the first dance song that made you fall in love with EDM?
Honestly, when you mentioned Avicii, I remember like Hey Brother, when that song came out, it like rocked my world, and I played it so much. I think I was probably around 12. And that was a time in my life where I was really branching out and starting to find different genres. But that song really made an impact on me. And it probably was the country influence. Like, the guitars and just the instruments that he chose to work with was so different at the time.
That is such an amazing song. I'm not saying that I'm making any suggestions, but it might be a cool cover if you haven't done it already.
That's a great idea, Brian. I might have to throw that in the set.
You're welcome. Consider me as your management now. Now, finally, in Finky's verse, in honor of the success of Hot Honey, it's got the lyrics, if you had half a heart, you'd let me go. What's a bad habit of yours that if you could let it go, it would be the first thing you would get rid of?
Ooh, what a question. I have a really bad habit of sometimes getting bored in my love life and calling exes that I shouldn't.
That is the
but
worst.
We want the drama. I'm here for the drama. I told you I set fire to my love life, and this is what I mean. I know it's a bad habit, but girls gotta have drama in her life sometimes.
But it's great for new songs.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about Hot Honey. I saw your stripped down performance of it, which was amazing. How was this song born with you and Tiesto?
So he originally sent me the song, and it was actually some of the writers on it were friends of mine, people that I collaborated with a lot. So I was like, okay, there's some connections here. I love that. And he just fell in love with my voice. And actually, his wife was a big fan of my music and had been for a long time. I think she was part of the reason that he reached out to me. But I sang on it, and it just felt right. I tried to do my own thing with the verses and bring a little bit of that country flavor to it, to really blend those genres. And it's just been the most incredible adventure. One of my favorite things I've done over the past couple of years. I got to go to Vegas for the first time with him and get to be a part of his world. And, we played it for the first time at one of the nightclubs that he was taking over. And then I got to perform it live with him at a pool party. So that was a lot of fun. Just getting to do things that I never thought I would. And I'm so grateful that he asked me to be a part of it.
EDM shows are a crazy world, aren't they?
Woo, it's so different, but I love it. I love it.
It's very different, but the audience is kind of just as passionate as country fans are, which is amazing.
100%, 100%. And it was just so much fun. I feel like I didn't know what to expect, but the connection you feel at those shows is pretty awesome. Like, you've just got a group of people that want to have fun and they love music and they're there to connect and just kind of like get lost in a moment. And it's a really special environment, and I hope I get to do a lot more with it.
Now, how long ago did you guys start working on it?
Ooh, this has probably been like a year in the works. It's crazy how long it takes these songs to, come to life. And it had been written before I even heard it. So I can't remember what the actual date of creation was, but I got the song. We went back in and made a couple tweaks to the lyrics, rewrote some things to make it more me, and got in the studio, sang it. And then from that point, it was just off and running. We got to do a music video too, which was a lot of fun. If you guys out there listening haven't seen it, please go check it out. It was a dream come true for me. I've always, as an artist, wanted to be able to make a music video with like a rain scene, a fire scene, and it was just so wild to get to watch that come to life and to be a part of it. I actually probably almost died a couple times because it is real fire. Like, I had many near-death experiences making this video, but it was so worth it.
So worth it. Well, congratulations on all the success of it. It is so amazing having you in this world. What is next for Alana Springsteen?
Man, more music. I'm so excited. I've been writing for my sophomore album and getting ready to step into this next chapter. And I've kind of just done a deep dive on how I've kind of been operating when it comes to love and relationships and attachments, and digging into triggers and trauma and kind of working through that in the process of healing and finding a way back to yourself, to the core of who you are. And I'm so excited to take fans on that journey and just get to release more songs.
I love hearing that. Now, as somebody who does it a lot, one of the triggers might be reaching out to your exes. Just saying.
You're right. There's a reason I know this, because I've been analyzing it, and it's just some things you wish you didn't know, but now you do, and it's time to fix it.
You got to learn somehow. Alana Springsteen, it is so incredible finally meeting you. Thank you so much for your time on America's Dance 30.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the support on the song. It seriously means the world. I've been watching it climb, and it's just so, so special, and I'm kind of geeking out. So thank you so much.
And hopefully, knock on wood, it's still climbing. So
come on, let's go.
Absolutely.
It'd be my first radio #1, like Bosch said. So
that would be so incredible.
Come true. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.